Yo, what's up, guys? Get this thing started in a couple minutes here. Wait till more guys roll in.
Where's your volume?
Coach Anderson, how we doing?
What's up, man?
All good? You got it all figured out?
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome, man.
Can you hear me good on my end?
Yeah, I got you. Sounds all good to me.
Sweet, man. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, baby. All right. I'm muting myself again.
All right, guys. We're going to get started in a couple minutes here.
There you go. Good? You sure?
Hey, guys, when you guys join in, just make sure that you guys are all muted so we're not all talking over each other. If you guys got any questions, you guys can kind of just add them as we go. Give everybody another minute here, and then we'll kind of get started.
Hello. Hey.
All right, guys. So it's 4 o'clock. We're going to get started here. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Appreciate you guys taking a little bit of time out of your day to learn a little bit of lacrosse. Hopefully everybody's healthy. Hopefully you guys got a chance to check into Lacrosse 101. I do know that Coach K was able to, record that. He actually recorded a separate one. So if you guys ever want to review that, that would be, if you guys ever want to check that out or check out any of these presentations that we're doing, you guys are more than welcome to do that. So what brings us today is we're going to go over lacrosse, the basics of offense. Now, if you're just a defenseman, I still think that you guys can learn some concepts out of this. You just have to kind of think yourself from a defensive standpoint. Some of this is going to be a little bit basic. We're going to watch some videos today from some professional players. We're going to watch a little bit of college highlights as well. I think that you guys will like. So, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask them as we go along. I'm just going to start off by saying we don't really have an update on the season. So let's not really stress about the season. If you have any questions as far as the presentation go, let's shoot those out there and we'll do our best to answer those. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, just shoot them along as we go. What's up, Tiber? I see you over there. Macklin. Hope everybody's staying good. So here we go. Basics of offense, 5th and 6th grade. So we got 2 main categories we're going to talk about today. I think these are really, really important. On ball as an offensive player and to me, most importantly, off ball, right? The reality is there's only one ball on the lacrosse field, okay? And there's 9 other guys that don't have the ball. So what those guys are doing off the ball is just as important, if not even more important than the guy has with the ball. So on ball, right? So on ball just means that you have the ball in your stick and you're actively trying to score a goal. Okay. Whenever you have the ball, you should really be trying to score a goal, right? As an offensive player. So a couple really, really important keys here. All right. First thing, you got to keep your head up. Okay. There's a lot of guys that when they have the ball in their stick, especially at a younger age, is we kind of get nervous when that guy runs up to us, especially with a couple of those times when we're starting to play with, against longer sticks and longer poles there. We kind of tend to duck our head. Couple problems with that, right? When we duck our head, we can't see anybody around us, right? So have faith in your helmet, have faith in your skills, have faith that you're going to not going to lose the ball cradling. If you're scared cradling the ball in certain instances, what ends up happening is you put your head down and then you're going to put yourself in a worse situation. So the next is good stick protection, right? So having good stick protection will give you a lot more confidence to keep your head up, right? And then the next one is make sure you're always going full speed. See a lot of guys when they carry the ball, they're kind of just jogging around, right? Because it's tough for you guys to put all 3 of those categories in together. Now, we're going to see a video towards the end, and you're going to notice that anybody that ever has the ball, especially at the college or professional level, they're never just walking. They're always, always, always going full speed. One thing to add to this is I see a lot of guys when they change their direction. What I mean by that is when they're dodging, they kind of just stay in the same space. What happens is as a defender, it makes it really, really, really easy to cover, right? You're still in the same space and you're also not changing your direction when you're doing those things. All right. When dodging, oops, we went past one here. When dodging, we're always looking to score, right? Always, always, always looking to score. If you beat your defender and a player slides, find the open player he slid from. So let's just take it a step back, right? A slide is when, you're able to run by your guy and another defensive player on the field comes at you, right? For a second, you have 2 guys almost kind of on you, right? We need to be able to find the open player that he slid from. So at some point, the ball came from somewhere, right? Or the defensive guy came from somewhere, leaving one guy open. Really important that we have our head up and we're able to try to find that guy. So next, if you're unable to beat your defender where your defensive player doubles you, look for a teammate to make an outlet pass to, right? Now, this is really important not only for the guy that has the ball, but it's also very important that the guys around them are working really, really hard, going full speed to try to give him an outlet pass to. There's nothing worse than when you have the ball, you're doing all the 3 things correct, right? You got your head up, you're going full speed, you're protecting your stick, but nobody's open, right? So we got to make sure that we're working hard off the ball. The next one is by passing the ball, you want to be able to make the defense rotate or find a matchup that favors the offense, right? So as you guys get to higher level, it's a little bit harder to run against a long stick, right? So what we're trying to do is trying to find that short stick on the field a lot of the times, right? Now you might have good matchups where, you're able to beat a pole or you have a really good attack and that's able to beat a pole. But a lot of times you're trying to, go against the easier matchups on the field. The other thing that you're trying to do is when you make a pass, every time you make a pass, the defense reacts. So what I mean by that is the whole defense shifts every single time you make a pass. And a good defense does that. Now, if you can move the ball really, really fast and you have that defense rotating, the defense is a little bit more susceptible for you when you're dodging. So those are all really important things to think about there. So, what I have here is just some dodging 101, just some three simple dodges, right? We have face dodging, split dodge, roll dodge. These are all drills or all dodges that we should be able to master, okay? Practice. A lot of the dodges as you get older are all kind of based on these 3 simple dodges. Also, as you get older and you get a little bit more skilled, what you do is combine those, right? So you do a face dodge to a split dodge or a face dodge to a roll dodge. And you start to combine those, and then you can get a little bit more high level and creative with your dodges and able to beat more defenders. Always going to go back to this. Always, always, always dodging with your head up. If you guys want to check out some more of these here, the face dodge, split dodge, roll dodge, you guys can YouTube some of those. what I have for you guys now is I have a YouTube video, and this YouTube video is for Kyle Harrison. Do you guys know who Kyle Harrison is? You can chat if you want to say that in the group chat. Kyle Harrison is a professional player. I believe he played at Hopkins. Pretty sure he played at Hopkins. Coach K, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, sir. There he is. He's a professional player. Still plays in the PLL. Was on the U.S. national team. He's one of the all-time greatest Dodgers, and he's a midfielder. And he really is going to break down at a high level of what these guys what he does, what he looks for when he's dodging. So let me just pull this up for you guys here. There we go. Put your volume, guys, up if you can't
What's going on,
hear it.
guys? Kyle Harrison here from Team STX. Just want to talk a little bit about dodging. First, the most important thing about dodging is I have to square my shoulders to my defender. Got Evan K from STX here. If he's going to be playing defense on me and he's guarding me like this, the first thing I have to do is square my shoulders to him. So often you see kids who dodge this way and be running from east to west. They're not going to do a good job getting to the goal. So the first thing I got to do is square my shoulders to Evan. As you get to higher levels of lacrosse, people are going to start cutting the field in half on you, trying to take away the middle of the field. As Evan does that here, I have to learn to attack that top foot. And what I mean by that is when I'm dodging, I'm running right at that foot and trying to get him to open it up. Third, we've all seen a punt returner or kickoff returner run down the field, beat everybody on the field, and then they get to the punter or the kicker, and you see the punter just kind of going like this, trying to stay with him, and his hips open up every direction. That's all I want to do with Evan here. Once I attack that top foot and I get him to open up his hips, now I can go whichever way I want. If Evan does a good job and keeps me down the side of the field, we're going to be in a game situation. There's going to be a slide here. If I can open Evan up and get that top foot open, get his hips turned, and get to the middle of the field, there's no help there. I'm going to have an open shot from 11 to 12 yards, or the slide's going to come late. I'm going to dump it to my attack, then we're going to have a one-on-one with the goalie. Two final things about dodging are this. One, you got to go full speed. Whenever you're dodging, I don't care what dodge you use, make sure you're going full speed. And then lastly, I think myself and a lot of other good dodgers out there, don't think about it before they do it. If you watch me dodge, I don't know what I'm doing until the exact second when it happens. So don't overanalyze it. Just get out there, go full speed, get to the middle of the field, and a lot of good things will happen.
So I think Kyle Harrison had some really, really great points here. And what he was talking about is, I think one of the most important is usually that dodge is not predetermined, right, guys? So it's not, you're not walking up to this guy and you're like, oh, I'm going to go split dodge, right? Offensive is somewhat reactive, and you really have to create that dodge based on what the defense is giving you, right? So if he's not allowing you to get top side, a lot of those times we've got to make sure that we're, in a situation where we're able to, attack that upfield foot, and you're going to have to take what the defense gives you. So you might have to do a right to left alley dodge, which I think you guys spoke about the other day, dodging down the alley. So I think Kyle touched on some really, really great points, a little bit more high level there. If you guys have anything, any questions, feel free to ask those over here. Who is he? Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison, he plays in the PLL. You guys can YouTube him a little bit later. Check out his highlights. He has some really incredible dodges. So what we're going to talk about next is off ball and shooting. So let me just pull this up for us here. So I think being an off ball player, a great off ball player, is, even more important than what you do with on the ball. I think it sets up, a lot of, players that, even great players that are on the ball, and it also gives your whole team a great opportunity to score. So first thing, keys to being a good off-ball player, right? You can never take your eyes off the ball, right? Never, ever, ever take your eyes off the ball. We're going to get into some stuff where we talk about cutting through, clearing through, but the reality is if you take your eyes off the ball, you're not a threat at any point, right? Nobody has eyes behind their head. Nobody's going to be looking back. Nobody's going to throw you the ball. They can't create eye contact with you, right? So a lot of cut throughs and these concepts that we talk about, we've got to make sure that we have our eyes on the ball, right? Always be in a position to catch the ball, all right? Whether that's, cutting through and you have it catching the ball over the shoulder or whatever it is, right? We've got to be able to be in a position to catch the ball. There's nobody that's ever going to throw you a pass if you have your back to the ball and you're not looking at the ball. Or if you don't have your stick up. If you're just running with your stick down your side just to cut through, you're never in a position to score, right? Then we might as well just play 6-on-5. The next one is being a threat position, right? So anybody here play basketball? You guys can shoot in there. I'm sure there's a bunch of guys that play basketball in here. And, they talk about this triple threat position, right? So, triple threat is being able to catch, being able to shoot, and dodge. So we want to be in a position where we can do all three of those things. All right. We're going to watch a video and you'll notice a lot of guys are in that triple threat position. So really important that we have our stick up, right? We got our eyes on the ball. We're in that triple threat position. The next thing is we got to be in a passing lane. All right. Our hands are free. Got to create space from the defender in a position where the guy carrying the ball can easily pass the ball to you. Okay. Now, one thing about this is I see a lot of guys, especially at the younger age, what they do is they kind of put their stick up and they're standing in the same spot. Well, let's go back and talk about what the guy with the ball is doing, right? The guy with the ball is running full speed. And every step that he takes with his eyes up, carrying the ball, good stick protection, every step he takes, it changes the pass angle on the passing lane to you as a player, right? So we always, always, always have to be adjusting to where the ball is on the field to create the space, but also get ourselves in a passing lane for that guy to throw you the ball. Now, do we think standing next to a defender, behind the defender while the guy is dodging, is that putting you in a good passing lane? Absolutely not, right? So we've got to adjust and get ourselves in a passing lane as the ball moves in every single pass and every single carry, or every single step where that guy is carrying the ball to. All right, the next one, this is the one that we always, always, always stress to you guys is, we got to communicate with your teammates. There's too many times in the games where there's guys just standing wide open in the field and they're not screaming for the ball. They throw their stick up, right? But we talked about it earlier that a lot of guys, we don't have our head up all the time, or we can't get our hands free to make a pass. Or if we do, we can't see you. You might be behind us, right? You're not in that passing lane. So we've got to be able to communicate with our teammates. For me personally, I think saying one more here is great. But if I want somebody's attention, I don't walk around school and I don't say, hey, one more, here you go. What do? I call somebody by their names, right? So if somebody were to be standing, 50 feet down the street and I wanted their name, I wouldn't say, hey. I'd be screaming their name, right? They would be more inept and more likely to look over. So, try to use guys' names if you have that opportunity to do that. One more and here are great too, but be verbal, be, jumping around if you're that open, but definitely be verbal. You don't need to be a great lacrosse player to be able to be verbal here. So I'm going to show you guys a quick video here. Pull this up. All right, guys. So you guys recognize this guy here? Yeah, this is Paul Rabel. He's going to go over some shooting technique here. Pay attention. This is a little bit more high level, but Paul Rabel, he's one of the best shooters to ever do it. He's also one of the best shooters with both of his hands. So his strong hand and his weak hand. Watch his form. He's going to give you guys a couple tips that maybe you don't already know. So, I think after we get into a great triple threat position here, taking some cues from him right here is going to be fantastic. So let's watch what he's got to say.
Day 5, the last day of our How to Lacrosse series presented by the Paul Rabel Experience. We're going to teach you guys the 3 parts: pointing, aiming, and shooting. Many of you guys have seen me shoot before. I can shoot the ball pretty hard. 111. Hand placement first. Now, if you remember how to pass, we talked about the top hand for me being slightly underneath the middle of the stick, where my tape is, and my bottom hand against the butt end of your stick. That hand placement is the same for shooting, which is great, right? We don't want to tell the goalie when we're going to pass to the crease guy or shoot it over his head, pass the goalie into the net. And we certainly don't want to have a big wind up that, again, tells everyone on the field and off of it that, hey, I'm getting ready to shoot hard.
So, guys, one thing I want to touch base on here, and I think is really important, especially being able to shoot with both hands properly. The hand placement is so key, okay? The hand placement is so key. I see a lot of guys, especially when they flip off to their offhand, a lot of the times their hands are up either really high or they come really close together, or they'll slide their top hand down. Guys, if you're shooting the same way with your strong hand, right? You've got to be able to flip it over, and it's got to be able to mirror exactly what you're doing with your strong hand, right? So think about these cues that, Paul is about to give you, Rabel's going to give you here. Also think of it as if you were doing in your weak hand too.
Of a successful shooter is the art of deception. We want to have our base set up so that it's angled towards the net. Remember, I'm throwing, in this case, shooting right-handed. If we're flat-footed here, we lack balance and momentum, we're also pulling and pushing in that direction where we can miss the net. If we angle, my opposite foot being forward, if I'm right-handed, left foot forward, if we angle at the net, that follow-through is going to 9 times out of 10 go straight. So that's point 1, which is point. Put the butt end of your stick right at your target. Point it right at that net. Right there. Almost like I'm getting ready to shoot a rocket launcher right to that net. Here's where we're going to add a little bit of velocity from what we did in our pass. We get our arms back. So we're pointing, we're aiming. Point, aim. You notice the shift of my momentum to my back leg. So I'm not flat-footed and doing this, shifting my weight back. Now we're ready to shoot. What this basically is, right? It's just a more exaggerated form of passing. And this is, again, level 1 of shooting. You want to get to level 100. Actually, that wasn't good. If you want to get to level 99. Point, aim. So I'm here, drop back, firing through. Here, dropping back, firing through. Here.
If you guys actually look at where the ball releases and where where the butt end of his stick comes out, that's where the ball goes every single time. If you were to follow it from right here, we'll watch. He's pointing that butt end and his toe to exactly which way he wants it to go. He's not pointing his toe straight for the ball to go into the top corners, right? He's pointing that toe and he's following through with his butt end.
Dropping back, short top, following through. And that does it, everyone. Hope you have a great holiday season. We're going to go back to our normal YouTubing schedule of videos on Wednesdays and then every now and then on a Friday. Hope you guys.
So guys, I think that's a great video. Rabel has so many great videos. Watch some of his stuff. He's got channels and channels and channels of this stuff. Paul Rabel is also one of the guys who created, the PLL. So he's one of the founders of it. And he really does a great job explaining to it. And he does it in a fun way too. But, the simple basics of it is getting that toe, following through, getting that elbow and that butt end pointing to the direction you want it to be in. If you can get those things down, then, switch it over, go over to the weak hand too, right? And kind of follow those steps and you'll become a really dominant player, especially when you can shoot with both hands. So I'm going to move off to back over to here. So we're going to talk about some options. I'm not sure who, I don't know if I can get this off here. Somebody draw on the screen here. I'm not sure if I can pull that off. Try. All right. I'm not sure, but we're going to have to roll with it. If that's, it's on everybody's screen, but if somebody wrote that and they can get that off, that'd be cool. If not, it's not the end of the world. We're going to move on to 4 options off the ball. Okay. So we got 4 options off ball here. We've got first one. Okay. This one's the most important. If anybody, by the way, here, this little lacrosse stick, that's where the ball is. Okay. So I'm going to give you these slots. This is kind of how we teach, our offense, especially, this exact way, this exact format, these templates. So, pay attention to this, get used to how this operates here. And then, eventually we'll get into offensive like team stuff and, you guys will be prepared for this. So, first one is an option is to clear through if the Dodger's coming at you. This creates space for the Dodger. Always go back to those principles we talked about, if this guy's dodging through, you've got to always be able to see the ball. You've always got to be able to catch the pass. Okay. This is the most simple one. There's too many times this guy gets caught right here. This guy dodges at you And then what ends up happening is this guy goes and doubles this guy, and you lose the ball in the middle of the field at the top of the offensive area. And then what happens is we're in a lot of trouble because that ends up being fast breaks. So first thing is anybody's dodging at you, clear through, get out of his way. Okay. The next one, this is more of a high level one. I do think that this is a great, option, but this is more high level. I would prefer you guys at the younger age, if you're in these exact spots, I'd rather you clear through, get out of the way. But, fade is a player dodging at you, you backpedal into space while in a triple threat position, right? So this guy gets into here. Somewhat, we want him to be a scoring threat. Right in this spot specifically, he's probably a little bit too low. But if he were to catch the ball right here, or even right here, he's in a good spot where he's able to score here, obviously with his left hand. But, this is a little bit higher level stuff because as you're a little bit younger, you're not going to score from 12 out in a low angle shot. But as you get older, this is definitely more of an option. The next one is set a pick on the ball. For any of you guys that did any of the indoor stuff, we set tons and tons of picks. Notice this guy right here. We set a pick on the ball, right? He comes in, he checks up. This guy creates a good angle. He's able to go attack the ball. This is also not really as much of a high level thing, especially once we start to get it, but it can become really high level. After this guy sets the pick, what does he do, right? In order for this guy to come off the pick to create good offense, there's a lot of different keys that has to happen right here. But, the first one is coming here, making sure our feet are set. We're going to come over the top and use this pick. The goal is that this guy creates contact with your defender. That's right here. If he creates contact with him, then you're, in good shape. Now, the next one is to set an off-ball screen, So if we're setting an off-ball screen here, what's going to happen is this guy is – he's creating space, whether he's fading, creating space for the dodger, right? So he's out of his way. So what you're going to do is you're going to come down. It could be on this guy. It could be on this guy. It could be on this guy. It could really be on any guy, really not that guy, but setting a pick on this guy. So same deal. Your feet are flat. This guy's going to roll off of the pick, right? As this guy's dodging, you're hoping to create space for A2. Right? Hopefully his defender gets jammed up and he's standing here and it's, for a second or two, there's confusion, whether they're switching or not, and you're able to dump in this pass right here. An off-ball pick is great. You can also come through, set it, maybe pick for this guy here as well. So, setting an off-ball pick, you're doing a lot of things. You're, creating confusion for this defense. You're also getting out of the way of the dodger, right? The best thing, the worst thing that can happen here is they switch here and, maybe this guy is actually playing really good defense and he can't beat his guy, but I do love this option. So as just opposed to clearing space, you're also creating a little bit of chaos, creating an opportunity for A2 here. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of film breakdown. We got about 5, 6, 7 minutes here. So we're going to watch a highlight film. I think this is a great highlight. Some college guys. It's actually some older film too. So it's guys that you'll see in the PLL. And, it's some of their film and their highlights from when they were actually in college. So you'll recognize some of the names and they're not in the professionals by accident. Okay. So what I need you to do is I want you to try to remember all these things. I want you to remember, moving off ball, being in a triple threat position. I want you to be able to see all these situations. Great question. I got to look at the chat more over here. The R, let's go back to that. Good question. So what does the R mean? Good question. So this is the extra attackman, okay? So we have an A1, A2, and R, right? I know you guys spoke about, offensive sets and about calling the offense here. This is a 2, 1, 3 kind of. This is that umbrella set we were talking about. I think Coach K had just briefly mentioned it. So this is just an extra attackman. This would just be like an A3. We call them the R because when we run an umbrella set, which is 2 attackmen, 1 guy here, our other attackman, and 3 midfielders, this rover becomes in this rotation. I don't want to get into that because you might get a little bit confused, but good question. The R is the extra attackman right there. We call him the rover because it's a cool name for it. And he kind of he roams around the field as the rover. So good question. Any other questions with that stuff there? No, we're good. All right, let's get to this highlight film here. It's a pretty cool film. Check it out. All right, guys. So the beginning of this is a little bit, oops. The beginning of this is a little bit fuzzy. It's not my computer. It's not your computer. Just try to focus on it. It's a little bit older film. They didn't have high def stuff back then. So check it out. I'm going to stop it a couple times, and then we'll wrap up with this.
Syracuse get it. Keogh does. 10 seconds left. Here's Abbott trying to get loose in front. Nix has it. He scores. He scores. Getting scores with 4 seconds left. Can you believe it? The Orange ties it up. 9-9. Matt Parrott. Hardy Wise. Thought about shot was hit. Brings it front. They score. Cody Jamison has won it. Cody Jamison wins it for Syracuse. It's over. The Orange wins the national championship. There's a move off the whistle. Those 2 wings. Everybody else wants to play in the boxes. Played with by Costume. Charging toward the net. And scores. There's a story beginning for the next 10 years. When their first national championship. The stage is set, and the 2011 NCAA Lacrosse tournament is underway. And tonight he's close to one right.
So two important things here, right, guys? We always talk about going full speed. Those last 2 goals, these guys were going 100 miles an hour. They were going full speed, right? One of them was to win a national championship by C.J. Costabile. By the way, he's from New Fairfield, Connecticut. And this last one is to open up, the NCAA championship, the first 6 seconds. He picked up the ball, always a scoring threat. Everybody else around him is doing their job, right? And going full speed and always looking to score.
Bodies him up, draws the side. Extra pass, Rannigan. Rannigan hands free. It's over in Charlottesville. Johns Hopkins for the first time since 1998. They have a new man out there for Duke. So at 14-14, they send out fresh legs. Great check by Dupree. Charlie paid the warning to Vanderbilt Gundy and gets it back. Still loose. Can he kick it ahead to his teammate? He can. Looking to fire it up Cornell bench. Look at the scrap on that ground ball. Cornell sprint for the ball and he gets it. Down by 3. Just about 8 minutes left to play. They were down by 7 heading into the 4th quarter. Cornell on the clear out. Gets there and scores.
Rob Pennell, I'm sure you guys hear that name. He's just left the MLL. He's coming to the PLL. Sniper. So what I want you guys to watch right here is watch number 2. Watch how he creates this space, right? And this is what we were talking about. This guy started his dodge here. Number 2 cleared space, right? He's going upfield. This guy is always getting himself into that passing lane, right? By him being a threat right here, kind of freezes him. And watch number 3 right now, right? As he carries the ball up, he's going to catch this ball in a great triple threat position, ready to dodge, ready to pass, ready to shoot. Let's see what happens here.
Out of timeouts. Stotts avoids the crease violation. Stotts, the dangerous pass. Oh! He has 2 timeouts left. If Fowler can win it quickly. But it's Daddio. Syracuse out of timeouts now. Harris wants it in the middle of the field. 7 seconds left. Stotts is going to have to let it fly. He checks the clock. Rice with 1. Oh! It's over! Rice to Donahue! Ball game! Loses it. Here puts an opportunity for Neer. Neer can score. Under 10 to play. Neer.
So I'm just going to rewind that really quick. So I just want you guys to watch. This is exactly what Kyle Harrison was talking about, right? And
Opportunity for Neer. Neer can score.
now I know this is really far out away from the field, the goal, but by him attacking this upfield foot and getting this guy to change his hips, it creates this space from him to him. Look at him right now. and then watch the separation that he's able to get, or the, basically where he's able to catch up, which is able to create this, this opportunity for a pass. And I also want you to watch the end attacking that's down here. He gets into he kind of fades into a space where he's able to score too. Notice though, he never takes his eyes off the ball.
Near with the angle. Near to Kavanaugh. The Irish take the lead.
Coach K is a Penn alum, so I'm going to fast forward just because we have a minute left. I don't know if you can bear to watch that, but I want you to check out this right here, okay?
Fences the double. Keeps coming. Kavanaugh. Just iced it for the Irish. And they're heading to Baltimore.
All right, so we talked about, creating space, right? We want to create space for the Dodgers, but I want you to watch how this creates, this guy that's going to cut through here, how it creates space for the next guy shooting, right? So let's watch this guy, right? So of course, we want to create space for the Dodger, right? He's going to get out of his way. He never takes his eyes off. This guy never has his eyes off. He never has his eyes off, right? Along with him. Watch how this guy cutting through creates a great shot for this guy right here. Now, this is an NCAA semifinal national championship. I believe this is Perkovic, too, if you guys ever heard of that guy. He's also playing in the PLL. Fantastic. I'm going to have to stop this right here because I'm going to ask you guys if you guys have any questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you guys, okay? So I want you guys to challenge each other here and watch some of these YouTube videos, right? You can go on here. You can YouTube just highlights, NCAA best goals, NCAA hype videos, whatever you guys want to do with that. But, get on YouTube, watch some of these things and kind of break down the film, kind of like what we just did. Don't just watch the film just to get pumped up. But honestly, that kind of gives me the chills right there watching that. And I've watched that film probably 10 times at this point now. Anybody got any questions here? I appreciate you guys coming in, checking this out. We're going to probably get kicked off here in a second. So, yeah, you watched the Staples game, Josh? Appreciate you guys. If you guys have any questions, let us know. You guys can also shoot me emails at 23athletics@gmail.com. We're here for you. Keep that stick in your hands. Try to stay clear of people. Listen to whatever everybody's telling you, especially your parents. And, stay healthy, guys. Appreciate you guys coming out and taking the time out for this. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for defense, whether you're an offensive guy or a defensive guy. And stay tuned. We're going to have some more cool stuff in the future. But appreciate you guys. Stay healthy, man. Talk to you guys soon.